Welcome back to my channel, guys. I haven't done a reaction video in quite some time, and the other day I was on TikTok and this online dating show called Pop the Balloon showed up on my feed, and I could not stop watching. I was riveted by all these clips. Come to find out, it's actually a YouTube show. The premise is basically that there's a lineup of potential dating matches, and as the title suggests, they pop their balloon if they lose interest in the candidate of the other sex. Straight to the point, very direct. It is not for the faint of heart. I don't know how these people have the chutzpah, the confidence to show up. I could never. It's part cringe, it's part entertaining to watch. You get to have this bird's eye view of social interactions that you otherwise wouldn't get to see. The dynamic, the body language of these people considering dating each other. You also get to see their reactions when things don't go well. I'm gonna show you some of the highlights today, and also just some of my observations. Of course, I'm so curious what you guys think. Let's talk about it in the comments after. Kudos to Arlette Amouli. I hope I'm saying that right. She is the YouTuber who's the face of this show, and it's coming from her channel, so I will link her channel down below, but let's get right into it.
What's your name?
I'm Shiloh.
Shiloh, welcome. And how old are you, Shiloh?
I'm 35.
35, okay. And what do you do?
I wouldn't even thought you were 38.
Of course not. But it's less about being a red flag and more about being a liability.
I get it.
If I were to bring you into my life, you would be a liability.
I'm a licensed plumber.
Okay, very cool.
Yes.
And now,
For me, it just did not work. I didn't feel like I had chemistry or wasn't fully attracted to you. And I feel like that counts if we are going to be going through a dating show, you know?
Yes, the feeling is definitely mutual. So that's okay. Thank you. You did me a favor.
You know, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm glad you have a great day.
Thank you, Queen. You too.
okay, well, let's go ahead. All right, we got to pop over here.
My eyes are up here, baby. Are you looking at the tattoo?
No, I'm looking at the hair on your arms. You know, women I deal with, they don't have hair on their arms.
Don't do too much.
Hey, I'm just being honest,
Don't do
Queen.
too much.
You know, probably not my type though.
Yeah, I understand. So I was gonna pop mine, but I wanted to collect more data on you. I feel like, again, like looks very tired, and like your timepiece doesn't work. It's like there for decoration, and then
You know what type of watch this is though?
it doesn't matter. It doesn't work.
Okay.
Popping the gum. It just seems like, I just rolled out of bed, put the sweatshirt on, and where the ladies at.
Hey, I appreciate how you said that. It's no worries, love.
I know. Thank you.
Your watch work? I mean, she said
It
it's...
does work. Oh. But right now,
It's not. No.
it's not on no.
Okay.
Need a new battery.
So it doesn't work.
All right. And let's go on over here.
As you can see, as soon as somebody walks in, balloons start popping. As soon as they open their mouths, balloons start popping. I'm telling you, I could never do this. I want to know in the comments, would you ever do this? Could you, do you have the confidence to do this? Because I could not do this. One-on-one dating is hard enough. I could never with a whole audience. I could never. What you start to notice after you watch enough of these clips is that there's definitely this theme among the way that the men in this show are going about picking a potential match and the way that the women are going about finding a potential match. And what I noticed is that the women are constantly kind of like sizing up a guy to figure out, is he masculine enough? Can he provide for me? Is he financially advanced enough for me? Whereas I find that the men are very quick to focus just on the physicality. I've noticed that a lot of the time when the guys are asked why they rejected somebody, or would they be, would this woman be their type if she hadn't popped her balloon? The immediate thing they go to is, yeah, she has the body type I like, or yeah, I like her outfit. It's very surface stuff, which to an extent I don't blame them for, right? Because we're talking about first impressions here, in the same way that when you're swiping on an app, you're coming from a superficial place for the most part. At the same time, I find it fascinating that these assessments for dating are so, to me, as a gay person, they feel so stereotypical for heterosexual dynamics of the man is purely looking at is she sexually viable for me? And in terms of reproduction, is she viable? Meaning, is she young enough? Can she birth my children? With the women, as I mentioned, some of them are so focused on can this man take care of me? So on the one hand, I don't blame them for coming to this with what's already been instilled in them by society forever. But at the same time, I can't help but judge them for being so predictable with what they're looking for at first glance. Not to say that gay men can't be judgmental or superficial with their demands, but I feel like gay men are superficial when it comes to sex and that kind of like dance. But when it comes to actual partnership, actual dating, maybe I'm wrong, but in my mind, I feel like gay men are actually less superficial because society has never taught us what what a gay dynamic is supposed to look like, if that makes sense. So I feel like gay men take partnership more seriously because we're not looking for a match to financially provide for us. We're not looking for somebody to have the reproductive health to produce the best children because it's not the same process as a heterosexual dynamic. So watching this as a gay person, I find it fascinating. I want to end this video to dissect probably the most controversial person who's been on this show, Dr. Elam. Yes, he calls himself Dr. Elam. Any chance he gets throughout this show, always introduces himself that way, which is kind of the first red flag with him. You will notice others, I'm sure. I have to say that watching him was actually kind of triggering for me because he reminds me of a guy that I briefly dated years ago. And years ago, I had made a video about this. This guy who asked me to come spend the weekend with him after we talked on and off for months. I finally came to see him, and very similar behavior to Dr. Elam, where it's a lot of gaslighting, it's a lot of mind games, and trying to sort of find ways to play a mental chess game in order to feel sort of above the other person. So I'm curious what you guys think watching this. But Dr. Elam was such an interesting case for me with this show because he comes up in multiple episodes, and at first glance, he's a beautiful man. He's handsome, he has this great smile, he's well-spoken, he's educated, he's a dentist, right? So you think like on paper, this is an excellent catch. But then he starts talking and he's preachy and he's condescending and he's argumentative. And you realize how interesting dating in this era is, in that some people are very superficial and then other people seem like a perfect catch, and yet then you realize there's all these layers that make you just want to stay single, quite frankly. I don't know about you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. So curious what you guys have to say about all this.
He's back.
Ooh. All right. If we can have your name.
That was so fast. I was not expecting that.
What's your name, sir?
Hi, my name is Dr. Elam.
And Dr.
Y'all know who
Elam,
I am?
how old are you?
That's not fair.
Dr. Elam, how old are you?
I'm 39.
Okay, all right. Now, we do see you pointed out Dr. Elam. What kind of doctor are you? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm a dentist, so actually, please forgive me for my attire. I had an emergency earlier and I had to rush here, so I didn't have time to change. She's not even looking at my face. What I look for in a woman is pretty universal, and I'm not sure if it's been explained this way, but I'm gonna try. There's 3 things that every man wants, and if you do these 3 things, you can procure any man that you want. And this isn't my information that I just came up with. This is actually research-based, and the first thing is being useful. How can you be useful to the person in your life? Why is that important? Because when you are a useful asset to the man that you want to be, then there is no way that he's ever going to want to get rid of you. The second thing is you have to blow his mind in the bedroom. What does that mean? That means you take the wildest, nastiest thing that you've ever done, figure out the wildest, nastiest thing that he's ever done, and exceed that. Otherwise, he can just get it from somewhere else. Now, the third thing, and this thing is the most important thing. It doesn't matter if you do the first 2 things. If you don't do this last thing, then you won't be able to keep your man, and that is respect. Always respect your man. Now, if you have any confusion as to what respect is, say to yourself, would I say this to the person who is writing my checks? Would I say this to my boss? And if you wouldn't, don't say it to your man.
The reason why I popped, very good looking man. well put together. You're in the dentistry world. That's amazing. I'm sure your love language is acts of service, since you are in the dentistry world. But the way you answered that question.
Actually, my love language is physical touch.
Oh.
And quality time.
Oh.
And words of affirmation.
I see that you like to interrupt.
I apologize. I apologize.
It's best that I did pop that balloon. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Dr. Elam, it's such a tragedy because you are so handsome. I feel like you are extremely arrogant, and I feel like you're probably gonna have a hard time because you seem like the type, like a know-it-all type of guy. And sometimes you have to be careful with that because even when you know it all, you don't know everything. So being humble sometimes can be your best friend, even if you do know it all, even if you're very smart, very wise, but just having a humble attitude, you know what I mean? You would probably go a lot further. And I say that with all the respect in the world.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who's your dentist?
Who is my dentist? Not you, sweetheart. And I'm just gonna leave it right there.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I'm not your dentist.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's
go to our next person here. Your name and age and why you ended up popping.